Hey everyone, Charlie here. Hope you're all doing well. It's a really beautiful night here in Japan. Um, I was on my way home from shooting the one kappa actually, going out and getting lunch and doing a couple errands and stuff like that. When I ran into one of my kids who's been with me for just about since I started, so just about a year and a half, and who is sort of the cause of my making this video, I guess. When I started back in December of 2014 teaching a much rounder, much greener sort of Charlie, this kid was much different too. This little guy, I think he's now just turning 7 or just turning 8 actually. And at the time that I came here, he was sort of a very angry kid, a very almost violent kid. Picked on his classmates when he could keep them in the same class as him. Sort of spoke very roughly to me, like when he speaks, or when he spoke rather, he would always speak like a little yakuza, like the vocabulary he used, and he would always roll his R's really harshly, like that kind of thing. And he wouldn't participate in class really seriously or anything like that. He just sort of, in a lot of ways, he reminded me of me as a kid. My mom always told me that one day my sort of spirited, as she called me as a child, my spirited ways would sort of come back, and somebody would sort of take their revenge on me for my parents. And sure enough, this kid is a part of that revenge, I suppose. There are various reasons why people come here to teach. People like Higgins in Japan, I think he was talking about in his recent video of his Friday video thing series, how he came to Japan. Well, he knew that he wanted to be a teacher, anyway, so that was the reason that he came to Japan to teach, because he wanted to be a teacher and he wanted to come to Japan. Other people just do it for a visa, and other people still aren't really sure what they want to do, but they want to give this a try. They want to get like a year of experience abroad. This is not one cuppa, but is this thing on? And yes, it is. So there are many, many reasons, and I've cautioned you guys before about coming here just for a visa, because your life will be miserable if you don't have any interest in kids or any interest in teaching, and you don't have any passion for the job. But this all really got me to thinking, like, what really is my job here? Of course, for the sake of my school and for my employment and everything like that, my first job, of course, is to teach kids English. Is to provide them this service that their parents are paying money for, so that their parents keep paying money, and that I get a paycheck, and the school stays open and stuff like that, right? So that, of course, is a big part of it. But the reason why, one of the many reasons why I caution you not to come here just for a visa, is because so often your job goes farther than that, and I've talked about being a role model and stuff like that before, but I'm not going to say that this is a Japan thing. I'm not even going to say that it's like a Sabae City thing, but at least from my observations, like there are a lot of kids here with these sort of developmental issues isn't the right way to put it, but sort of emotional issues, right? Anger or behavior issues that they're just not, they don't have that sort of structure at home. I find that a lot of kids here, at my school at least, and other kids that I've met through some of like the outreach programs we've done, are children of single parents, single moms particularly. For whatever reasons, the dads just a lot of times just aren't there. And so what that ends up meaning is that you have a lot of kids who come into your class who they have a mom who isn't there as much as she'd like to be, because she has to pay all the bills, so she's working constantly and trying to run her 2 kids all over the place and stuff like that, right? And it's really, really hard for her. But what that means sort of necessarily, it seems, is that the kids come to my class and they're just, they have no idea how to behave a lot of times in a classroom setting, or they don't have any idea how to behave towards adult men in particular. They have no respect for adult men, because the men that they have known or have never known, their experience with them is that they leave, right? So of course, if you've ever dealt with kids, you know that particularly with kids, and this happens with adults too, this happened with me, if you feel like people are always leaving you, why the hell would you bother? this took me sort of a long while to realize, is that not only am I supposed to be teaching these kids English, and supposed to, I don't know that I necessarily want to put it that way, but I want to teach them English, right? That's what I'm here for. But I also want to make them better little people, happier little people, you know? And so this little kid that I talked to you about before, this little Yakuza, as he's known in our school, you know, maybe more so than teaching English for a while, my biggest job was to show him that people care about him. I guess that I care about him more than just like a statistic on paper, right? That doesn't matter to me, at least until it becomes a real problem and I don't have any kids. But to show him that he's not expendable to me, you know? And so the way I did that was to put up with him when he was throwing his temper tantrums, or to show him that if he did something bad, yes, I was going to be upset and that I was going to discipline him, but after that, the next class he came back, I would forget it, right? His value is not based on how on whether or not he has a bad day, right? And the kid in question used to come to class and be like, you know, I haven't seen my dad in 2 years, or something like that, you know. And so again, I keep going back to this thing where I'm of course not his father, of course not, but in many ways that's what you have to be as a teacher, right? You have to be the disciplinarian, you have to be like their crying shoulder, and so many of these other things. And so I realize I'm rambling, and I wonder how much of this I'm going to cut out, but long story short, right, here we are in a year and a half later, and don't get me wrong, he's not like a perfectly behaved little boy, because he's a little boy, you know. By nurturing him and walking him through why he can and can't do certain things, or how to do certain things, or how to express himself more healthfully, in a more healthy way anyway, he's become this stronger, more stable, I struggle to say better, but I think better little human being, you know. And so and it's great to me, because of course maybe you think that when kids come into your school, that it will only be your job to teach them and to sort of discipline them while they're at your school, right? And that your responsibility and your job doesn't extend outside of that hour a week that you get your kid, or 2 hours a week, however long the duration is. But when you have grandparents and parents, or whoever is taking care of these kids, come to you and say, his teachers at school, at his elementary school, his middle school, whatever, talk about the change that they've seen in him. They talk about how happy he's become, or, you know, they talk about how he talks about English and how much fun he has in English class, you know, and you see how far your influence extends and everything. And so it makes you want to do better. It makes me want to do better, and to keep on doing this with all of my kids, you know, to show them that, yeah, I care about you, you know, I care about you. I want you to learn English. You're here to learn. This is a classroom environment, but I'm also here to nurture your passion, right? And I think that's something that a lot of times maybe kids don't get so much in the Japanese school system, is that sort of hand to say, oh man, okay, you're doing this in a different way than somebody else is, or yeah, you're acting out in a way different from how the other kids are, but that's okay. Like let's follow that route, you know? And I guess maybe at the end of the day, I guess if we can really sort of shore up what I'm really trying to say here, it's that, yeah, you're a teacher and you need to be able to teach them English, just to keep them as your students, right? There's that business thing to it, but you also need to, what keeps these kids at your school, and I've talked about before, what will bring them back if they have to leave for a little while, is you, and what you mean to the kids, and what you come to mean to their family and to their parents, right? So, you know, it's just something to think about before you come here, or if you're just starting out here. Be more than a teacher. Be more than someone who's just here, you know, or just in a school so that you can get a visa, so you can eat a bowl of ramen or go to Akihabara or whatever the case may be, right? Like, be more for these kids, and I think you'll see it really pay off. So on that note, I hope this wasn't too long-winded, but knowing me, it probably was. Thanks always for watching, guys. Please let me know, of course, down in the comments what you think of my view on this. like, share, subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Check out my other videos. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, have a great evening or day or morning, whatever time it is for you. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.